So last night I said I'm gonna get up early and shoot a YouTube video. So here I am, up and shooting a YouTube video. Hello beautiful humans, I'm Taylor Brynn, a teenager passionate about veganism and sustainability. Today I'll be talking to you all about composting. So first of all, what is composting? So composting is the microorganisms in the soil eating organic waste and breaking it down to its simplest form. Composting is really important in gardening and plants, not only because it creates a very nutrient soil, but it also is an aerobic process, meaning that it gives off carbon dioxide, which is very important in terms of photosynthesis. So basically, the biggest components of composting are nitrogen-rich materials, carbon-rich materials, oxygen, and water. To start a compost, you're going to need a couple things. So for a compost to work, it needs to have access to water and oxygen. So you can't keep it in a container where no water or oxygen is going to get in, because then it won't decompose properly. So inside your compost, you're going to have green materials and brown materials. I'm not really talking about the color. Green materials are materials that are high in nitrogen, and brown are the high in carbon. The ratio is that you are going to need more carbon-rich or brown materials in your compost compared to green materials. It will also be good if you chop or shred all of the items that goes into your compost so they're smaller and easier to take on for the microorganisms. If they're really big, it can take a really long time, or it might not work at all if it's really large. Okay, so how and where are you going to be placing your compost? So there is a plethora of options that you can choose from, ranging from a DIY container, a compost tumbler, or you can order or buy a actual compost bin. So there's pros and cons to each depending on your living situation. If your neighborhood has a lot of animals or you have pets that go outside, it'll probably be best for you to have a covered container instead of just having it sitting there, because I know my dogs would go straight for it and it would not be good. So it's very important that if you have animals to make sure that it is in a covered container. So I have mine at my mom's house. I have it in one of those ordered compost large containers, and then at my dad's house I have a compost tumbler, and these keep it from my animals very well, and it's really good. So you can also DIY and make one. There's a lot of options. You can use different types of netting. You can build it out of wood. I'll link. I have a whole I wrote this whole essay about composting, and I have a lot of options linked there. So if you want more in detail options of what you could build or DIY, I will link that in the description, and you'll be able to check it out and look at all the options. But there's a lot of different options. I know some people who just like put it on the ground, but that would not work in my household. Yeah, so make sure that you're finding the correct composting mechanisms for your lifestyle. So a lot of people wonder about the smell of compost. A healthy compost shouldn't smell horrible. If it smells atrocious and you can barely go out to it because it smells so bad, that's not good. That means that, I don't want to say that you're doing it wrong, but you're doing it wrong. But a lot of these problems can be fixed. Most of the time when it comes to smell, at least, it means that there's too many green materials in it. You just overloaded it with green and the balance is all, and then it just doesn't work. So if you have some of the common compost problems that people won't get a compost for, and you start noticing that in your compost, it usually means that there's something that is wrong, and 9 times out of 10 it is fixable. You can balance it out, you can do whatever to fix it, and I've written a little bit about that in my essay as well, so if you want to check that out, that would also be great. In my essay, I have a huge list of things that you shouldn't compost and the reasons why. So I will just name just a couple, and if you want to see more and see why you can't do these things, just check out the essay and you'll get the whole list. So the biggest things are meat and fish, pet waste such as dog and cat. If you have like a small pet, like I have Calliope back there, my hamster, and she is on a vegan diet because that's how hamsters are. So her pet waste isn't as bad as if I put my dogs or cats. You also shouldn't put in dairy products or diseased or infected plants. And there's a whole list if you want to go check out more and see exactly why you shouldn't put in these things. Just like I said before, it's linked in the description. So this is me just walking out to my compost. I'm at my mom's house, so I have a big bin that we got from Amazon, I believe. Here it is. Don't mind the bugs. It's a natural part of breaking it down as long as they're not like house flies, or there's certain bugs that aren't good, but these are all good. You can see that there's a lot of shredded paper in there because that is one of my biggest brown material. And I make sure to keep a lot in there just so it's good. I just go in and I just mix it all up, and it's usually really good. So here it is. I have some garden tools back there, and there's my compost. Here is the essay that I keep referring to. I wrote this to try to convince my dad to get a compost. It did work. Here I explain a lot about composting in depth. I give a lot of descriptions of what your compost can look like and what it can be made of, and I have a lot of links to other resources. This document is really detailed, so feel free to check it out. The link is in the description. I keep a bucket in the kitchen so I don't have to take things directly out in the backyard just for convenience, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And here is me dumping the bucket into the backyard compost. I just take it out whenever it's full or whenever I have time. Since the bucket was in the kitchen, it's mostly going to be green kitchen scrap materials, so whenever I do dump the bucket out, I usually try to bring shredded paper or any more brown materials in the house into it just to balance it out, and I do take a garden tool just to mix it up and make sure it gets enough oxygen and is all mixed up. If your compost is particularly dry, this would also be a good time to put a little bit of water in it. And of course, this is a great time to see if your compost is decomposing correctly, if there's any funky smells or any unwanted bugs that shouldn't be in there, or just anything that seems off. This is a good time to check it and make sure that you can fix it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want me to make more videos or you want to know more. Just leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to make some more, go into a little bit more detail, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!